Good morning. It is the replay queen. You know what? I want some coffee. I just realized, and I don't have any. I'm gonna have to go get some coffee soon. I don't like, and I knew I was gonna feel like this. Gosh, that just hit me. It was cold, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel like getting any more K cups. Yeah, I'm craving coffee. I'm gonna have to go soon. Sorry, y'all. Good morning, replay queen. For those that are going to catch the replay, as normal, my only request: hit the like button. Ways to support: you can like, can subscribe, you can share, and yeah, it would be appreciated. Good morning, Lolita. Hey, Nook the book. Happy Sunday, Jim. um so you guys, I wanted to get my morning chat out. TikTok is gone. I know a lot of people are sad about that. I, for one, am not. I saw this coming quite some time ago. I did a video about it a year ago. No one listened, so nanny nanny boo boo. I really don't care about that app, um, and I don't like how. I just don't like it, so I'm not upset about that. But before I get into having your cup of coffee now, I'm so jealous, Miss Lolita, because I knew it. I was like, I'm gonna be okay. It ain't that big of a deal. Child, I'm craving it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go to my corner gas station, and they got some of the best coffee. I don't know why. There's one particular gas station. Oh, it's so good and fresh. And I think I'm craving their peppermint bark blend. Oh, it's scrumptious. Anywho, um, before I get into what I wanted to get into, I wanted to talk about double standards just a bit. So, if you remember the singer Chrisette Michelle, beautiful girl, beautiful voice, she's been extremely vocal about how she was blackballed after singing for, that Orange Man. It was such a big thing. She performed for him, and it literally, her career was ruined. Literally, y'all. Good morning, Miss Lots. Ruined. And, politics, as you know, is one of those topics where you're going to poke around and find out some people are very, very strong about their choices, and that's that. And Chrisette Michelle learned amongst, our peers and our community and our culture that we don't rock with you. Career over. Done. All right. Fast forward to present day. Nelly and Snoop. Snoop's still up in the air, but Nelly is 100% confirmed, is performing for the inauguration for that Orange Man. Nelly confirmed. Snoop might be the surprise. It's still up in the air. He doesn't want too much chatter about it, but they are set to both perform for the Orange Man. Here's my thing: it's just business when it comes to those two. It's just business. I've seen that so many times from a lot of their supporters, and men and Snoop. Nelly, I'm not surprised, but Snoop, yep, TikTok is on hospice. I've started the morphin drip, a little nourishing with that part, Miss Lolita. But when it comes to Nelly and Snoop, the approach and the census is like, it's just business. I don't think that's fair. I don't, because Chrisette Michelle's career was ruined. Now, I don't want anyone's career ruined. Of course, I'm not saying that, but I don't like the double standards and the hypocrisy where you have two male artists to where they're doing it. It's simply business. Support who you support, perform where you want to perform, but either keep the same energy or don't blackball someone at all for their choices if it's not going to be consistent, regardless of gender. I'm a little disappointed about that. And I'm actually disappointed in Snoop. I really am. I'm all for supporting somebody if that's what you want to do. No shade, no hate. I'll still sit next to you and all of that there. But it's another thing to give your artistic gifts to. I feel a way. That's my opinion. I'm standing to it. Other people might not, but I definitely feel a way. Um, I wouldn't have expected that from Snoop. Nelly, I absolutely could. Like, literally. I so could see that. It's not even funny. But I am disappointed in Snoop. Like, this is our Snoop. This is my murder was the case that they gave me. Like, what are you doing? They don't deserve you, sir. Why would you be shucking and jiving for that orange band? But hey, to each his own. I guess everything is, sometimes it's all about the dollar in some cases, right? We'd like to say that, I wouldn't do that for $1 million or whatever, but I'm learning that people just be BSing, y'all. If the price is right, people gonna do something strange for a little bit of change. You know what I'm saying? We live in a society now where I just question the integrity of morals of so many, where it's just like, wow, you're insane. You know what I mean? Miss Lolita says Snoop don't support that racist. It's a money grab. I heard he's getting millions to perform. Yeah, I heard the price is definitely right, Miss Lolita. I heard the price is definitely right, but I don't know. Me personally, when it comes to like the level of, I don't know, Beyonce, Jay Z, Rick Ross, and them, they're totally in a different tax bracket. I feel like when you have a certain amount of millions or even close to billionaires, why would you even care about 5 more million? You're literally not going to be able to spend what you do have in your lifetime. And hopefully you're smart enough to have a will to give it out, accordingly if something were to happen to you tragically. But, Snoop's not hurting for a dollar. He's not. You're okay, Snoop. Your children are okay. Heck, your children's children might even be okay with what you're leaving them. So I just feel like for those, the millionaires or even billionaires, once you reach a certain amount and if you're a certain age, because come on, let's be honest, ain't nobody living here forever. You're not. So if you sitting on $400 million at 40 years old, you got a couple decades left, possibly. Depends on genetics. So what's 4, 5, 8 more million when you're sitting on 500? I wouldn't need it. I would be like, you know what? I'm straight. My children are straight, and I would think that's what we work for, because we know we can't take it with us. As long as I know that my family is straight and my demise, and I've worked and I've built this, I'm not singing and dancing no more for no 5, 10 million. And I got like 5 or 800. I wish I would. I'm done. Mission accomplished. But to each his own. Get it how you live. You know what I mean? um but yeah, those two brothers, and I'm sure it might be others, and we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, they are performing for that orange man. Good morning, Miss Tracy. Hey, Snooky. And I feel away only because that sister's career was ruined when she performed for him. I don't like that for her. Chrisette Michelle has an amazing voice, and she took a hit. Even she stated she went through depression. A lot of people, record execs and things, they decided to stop working with her. Her career was ruined. It made me realize just how powerful um, um, the court of public opinion is. you know, the court of public opinion, right? Because just a few years ago, Snoop was publicly speaking against Trump, that part. So that was my little take on double standards. But I wanted to get into credible witnesses and rumors and gossips, because I hear so many times where people is just like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. What? That's a lie. Is it a lie? Are some of us so jaded by our like of parties that we will overlook anything that paints them in a negative light? And I can say this because I once did this years ago, and sometimes as of recently, where I allowed my like of someone to overlook anything that would have been negative. And I think we do ourselves a major disservice, because I don't care who it is. Someone at some point, your mate can disappoint you at one point. That doesn't mean that you're breaking up or divorce or whatever, but at some point, someone that is going to disappoint you or do something that you would think that is out of their character, or I don't like that. That's life. That's the way it is. That's the way it works. None of us are perfect here. You know, my siblings have done things to me where I was just like, I wouldn't have thought you did that, but you love them anyway. But you can't be blinded by your love of someone, that you're willing to accept just anything from them and not believe that something could be done outside of their character. You'll disappoint yourself in doing so. And on the flip side of that, Never allow your strong distaste for someone allow you to overlook that they could potentially be right in some instances. I'll give you an example. I am not a supporter of the Orange Band. I am not a supporter of the Dallas Cowgirls, okay? However, if they do something right, my distaste for them will then trump that, no pun intended, because I can still see the right. You know what I'm saying? I can still see the right, even if I am not your supporter, even if I might have a distaste for you, I can still see your right because that's what adulthood is about. Never hate someone so much that you can't see their right. And keep in mind, hate is a very strong word. That's a very strong word. So if you use that, if you have hate for someone, that's something that you have to work on unless it's under dire circumstances. For example, I hate the man that took my sister's life. You know what I'm saying? I hate him. I hate him. So, under circumstances like that, yes, I can understand you can hate someone, but we should never allow our hate for anyone to allow us to never see their right because I've said this time and time again. A broken clock is right twice a day. Hey, Miss Nola, how are you? Yeah, her voice is beautiful, Miss Lolita. Miss Lolita says exactly how my husband just pissed me off yesterday, and I definitely called him out on it. We talked about it and then did what married folk do, if you know what I mean. Exactly, Miss Lolita. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Miss Lily. Exactly. So the even those closest to us are going to piss us off at some point. They're going to do something that might disappoint us. They're going to do something that's out of character. But let's not be so blinded by that we're shocked at the thought. That's life. That's what happens. But adults, they work through that. You know, well, you can say, you know what, I didn't. When you did that, I did not like that. But that's it. That's all. Because we're not perfect. We're not perfect. No one is. Good morning, Shells, my friend. We're not perfect. So when you have situations in which you have parties that have a strong distaste for someone, if you continuously find fault in everything, then that's a you problem. That's a you problem. Because no one, you should not hate someone so much where you can only see their bad. Even with the story that I was covering of that child, there were plenty instances where I was able to see her good or where I was able to say I can see her right, although I wasn't a supporter. You can never be that blinded by your distaste from someone that you overlook what possibly could be true. You'll disappoint yourself in doing so. You truly will disappoint yourself in doing so. And I know because I've done it. You know what I'm saying? I've done it. I have done it time and time again. You know? So I wanted to read the definition of a rumor. Okay? Talk or opinion with no discernible source, a statement or report current without known authority for its truth. I'll read it again. A statement or report current without known authority for its truth. Talk or opinion with no discernible source of uncertain or doubtful truth. Because I feel like a lot of people might get confused with that. Oh, my shells, my friend, thank you so much. I appreciate you for my super sticker. I do. Thank you. Because I feel like so many people get confused with definition of things and they spread it so loosely without getting down to the nooks and cranny of exactly what they're speaking before they just say it. You know what I mean? So sometimes just you got to go old, good old fashioned textbook to get a definition. Just a little textbook. So when it comes to a rumor or a party or a credible witness, because I feel like in our stories and situations and how we're online, we hear stories and it's like, is this true? Is this true in the court of public opinion? But in the court of law, there's a few things that people should take into consideration when it comes to a party telling a story. So I would say on social media, when we have people on platforms and they're telling a story about a particular person, let's place ourselves in the courtroom. And what makes them a credible witness? And what are things that we should consider when we are listening to their stories? Here's a few examples. How well could the witness see, hear, or know the things that the witness testified about? So ask yourself when you are listening to these panels and people are telling stories, these are questions that you should ask yourself to determine if you think that they are credible. How well could they see, hear, or know the things that they testified about? How well were they able to remember and describe what happened? What was their behavior while testifying? Was their testimony consistent or inconsistent with other testimony and evidence, including the accused's own prior statements? How reasonable was the witness? This is a very important one. Does the witness have a motive to lie? So ask yourself when you are watching someone on a panel, and let's just say if it's about someone that you don't like, okay? Let's add that in there. Let's just say it's about someone you don't like, and they're telling a story, and it's good. Ooh, honey, it's juicy, right? It's full of it. It's just a juicy old peach. Ask yourself, but do they have a motive to lie? Okay? Okay? And what is their reputation for honesty and truthfulness? Note that a credible witness does not have to be perfect. Credible witnesses tell the truth about what they saw and heard, and sometimes that might even mean saying, I don't know or I don't remember. That too makes a very credible witness. Determining whether a witness in court is credible is similar to deciding whether a coworker or acquaintance is credible. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So ask yourself when you're listening to these parties speaking or listening to these interviews or whatever the case may be, these are things that you need to be asking yourself before you rally up against. Are they credible? Do they have a motive to lie before you chalk them up as being simply a hater? They might just be telling the truth. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't want to be that person that can't see the right. I don't want to be that person that's not aware that a broken clock is right twice a day. I don't want to be that person. And others will stunt their growth if they allow themselves to continue to be that person. Never allow your distaste for someone to be so strong that you forget the fact that a broken clock is still right twice a day. Sounds like a you problem in some instances, you know? Sounds like a you problem in certain instances and things that people have to work on within. I always thought when it came to this saga that getting close to the parties would alter my judgment. And I'm glad that I didn't. You know, I'm glad that I didn't. I didn't have a rapport with RH. I didn't have a rapport with the sisters. I didn't have a rapport with Brianna. I didn't have that. And I'm glad because in doing so, I know that it would have altered my judgment. It can happen, right? That's life. So when you have these situations in which you get too involved or too invested, hence people that might have gotten close with Brianna or whatever the case, it can totally alter your judgment. And that's never a good place to be. Never, never a good place to be. I'm very thankful that I never had a conversation with RH. Very, very glad. You know what I'm saying? It allowed me to see things for myself, you know? Now it's a little different with Kevin because Kevin is someone that I see as a great party that I had the pleasure to meet and call a friend. But see, my friendship is a little different. And Kevin knows because we can talk. We can talk about wrong or right. And that's what makes a friendship. And that's the way that it should be if you are going to cover a story. I'm not going to tell you you're right all the time. I'm not going to be that friend. And nor would I want someone to be that friend to me. You know what I mean? It's just not the way of the world. The hell type of friend is that? Where you just right all the time? Please, that's crazy. It's crazy talk. But I think with doing that, I learned, you guys, when it's hard seeing. I want to make sure I word this correctly. It's hard seeing something occur that you can't stop. Where you just wish it would, or wish it was something that you can do, even outside of Kevin and what he endures. There got a point too when it came to the RH and their divorce. It got to a point where it's just like, I really wish I personally can do something to make it stop. And you can't. That's the sucky part. That's the sucky part. It really is. It is. Because I think, regardless of who you are, I don't think no one deserves continuous slander. No one. Now I could understand a quick bickering back and forth. You stupid, you bald head, you don't got no edges, you stink. I can understand that maybe for like a day or two, but something consistently for months, like I myself did in the story. Because again, I'm not too cute to poop. I speak for me. I speak for myself. You know, when it got to be continuous, it's just like, you know what? Let me fall back because this is too much. There were creators coming out from out of the woodworks where I'm just like, this is too much. This is too much. They got it. I no longer need to speak on it. It's too much. So it should become a point for anyone who is under ridicule where it's like, you know what? It's been a little too long. Let me fall back. Because I know I reached that point where it was just like, let me fall back with this story. So I don't see why it's so hard in other instances when it pertains to other people and other stories that we've heard over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It should become a point where it's like, you know what, let me fall back. I couldn't even give this. I couldn't give this another day, another week with what I covered it. So I don't understand how people can repeatedly cover something or distaste for years. That's a you problem. That's literally, it's giving to me undiagnosed disorder because no one should be able to do that. It's insane to be able to speak about a topic once a week for months and years. Something is wrong there. The only person that you should be pouring into that much is the people in your home and yourself. Absolutely not. And this is coming from someone that used to do it. Absolutely not. Exactly, Shells. Good morning, Miss Eppins. It should come to a point where it's like, this is not okay. I could be giving that time to something so much better than to consistently, continuously repeat an event over and over and over again, or to repeatedly remind someone that you hate someone. We get it. But I will say that there's no one, I don't have any ill will or malice towards anyone. That's just who I am. But I don't feel like anyone deserves continuous, consistent slander. A quick hot 1-2, a hot 1-2 back and forth, but no one deserves it repeatedly. It's not fair, male or female. Not fair. Not fair. And before anyone wants to get cute in my hidden comment section with it, but you did it, girl. Listen to the live. I literally said that. So, like, please, I hate it when people do that. That's so annoying. That's so annoying when people do that. Please pay attention and follow directions and instructions. I feel like that's the part where so many people were on the short bus, where you're not listening, you're listening to respond. Stop listening to respond. Listen to understand and comprehend, because you might just learn something. Stop listening to simply respond, because you're going to make a fool out of yourself. Oh, someone said live button. Listening to respond. How about listen, gather your thoughts, and come back in a day or two? But if you do it instantly, you simply listened to respond. Live button. You didn't have a chance to gather your thoughts. You didn't have a chance to digest what you just took in. Live button. You are listening to respond. Take a minute. Take a minute to break down what you heard, so you can get your thoughts out correctly, so you can understand. And maybe you might have a different approach, but when you do things impulsively, it will be wrong 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, it will be wrong when you do things simply to respond. Speaking from experience. Just saying. So, to It's Love, I don't know who you are. I didn't feel like typing, so I did say the next time I go live, I was going to address you. So, as far as your comment regarding my statement to the sleeping Israelite, you started with all due respect. Woken is the kid's real father, and whatever he did in the past, him and Brianna have made things right for the kids. It's not what you've done, but what you've learned to do better. His children love him, and he loves them, and he's making things right. Robert has no say so over the kids per law. Let's be honest. Brianna said Robert had no permission to record her kids while her dad was in the store, post them for views with recording glasses. If she asked him not to do it, he should have respected her wish. Period. You continue to talk about this man past, but all I see is a man who is at least trying to be a better father. That's a good thing. So to you, I'll say you dropped the ball, because at no point did I make this about RH and him recording. That's not what my video was about, ma'am. With all due respect, my video was about a father, okay, that was visibly not in the home. All right. This man impregnated a woman not once, not twice, but 3 times, and never made her an honest woman. RH did so without impregnating her. She had a ring on it when she was carrying his child. So if you can say that Woken is being a better father, then please be that person that I've been talking about, which is why I read and went through everything I went through, where I'm telling you, do not allow your distaste for someone to not allow you to see their right, because a broken clock is right twice a day. So, in the same sentiment, Miss Ma'am, that you can say that Woken is trying to be a better father, you can at least extend that sentiment to RH, because it looks to me that he is also. But do you choose to not want to see that? That's what I'm talking about. That's why I read your statement. Do not be that person where your distaste for someone allows you to overlook their good, because even a broken clock is right twice a day. So if you can see that Woken is trying to be a good father, take the blinders off so you can see the same for someone else. Me personally, Miss Ma'am, I don't see that he's trying to be a better father, because he's not in the home and he sees them on breaks and they don't have that one-on-one interaction with dad consistently. So that's not good for me, and that's my opinion. But I do see a father that's with their child a little bit more consistently. Do you? If not, take off the glasses. So, anywho, um, Insane. It's called You Do Better When You Know Better. Say it again. Say it again, Miss Rolanda. And good morning to you too, Miss Edmond. So, it's comments like that and things like that that just make me sit back and think. When I read that comment, it had me thinking of like, wow, people really can dislike someone so much that anything that they do is just wrong. I never want to be that person. I really don't. And contrary to belief, even through the immaturity, I did learn a lot in this saga. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the behaviors of other people. And I also believe that we have a lot of people running around with a microphone with undiagnosed mental disorders, because no one should anger you that much where you are just popping off. That's insane to even waste your time like that, to strain your voice like that. What are we doing? That's why I had to stop when I realized just how ugly this is. I couldn't do it anymore, my chatters. I couldn't. I couldn't. I'm all out of insults. I'm all out. I got nothing for you because it didn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. I don't want to have to curse you out and holding my phone, just yelling at some. I don't want to do. I don't want to have to do that. It doesn't feel good. It's not productive. And it's not even a good representation of who I truly am. I have some lives where I would be embarrassed. They're still up, you know, the immature jokes and cracks and stuff. Some people went a little far. Now, I'm be honest now. Some people went a little further than me, child. I ain't doing, I wasn't with the extra. But it's not a good representation of me. So I had to fall back and do things a little bit differently. And just like I said in my live the other morning, ask yourself, if your resume was YouTube and your lives were your work, is this a resume that you will be proud of? So me, I had to make some changes because it wasn't a resume that I would be proud of. So it depends on what you do it for. If you do it just to use it to, tell the world who you hate that day, then have at it. But you can only go so far. Just Jewel says, yes, it's getting old. Either make content instead of making other CCs your content. I agree. I agree. I agree. Miss Lolita says some of these CCs are controlled by everything except intelligence. They are forever changing their mind. Don't take a stand for shat. Go with every new and superficial thought of idea. I agree. I can see that too. They do not take the time or effort to think. They are blown by the wind. This go for some of the supporters too. You said what you said when you said it, Miss Lolita. I agree. I agree. I've never seen so much inconsistencies. I tell you what, and I'll say this now. Um, and Retta, if you listen, I hope you understand, because we've been public with some things, but everyone knows that you would see me, Lupac, and Retta together a lot, and then all of a sudden it just simply stopped. Okay, on my end, there were inquiries, of course. People wanted to know things, or whenever they would say in the chat, I miss you guys, or where's Retta. I had a opportunity in that instance to say, am I going to address this or not? But I knew in just how ugly this is, that just any type of address would turn this into something ugly. But guess what? This is also someone that I spoke with often in my personal time outside of this. This is someone that I shared things with, that shared things with me. This is someone that I cried with. So, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to bash them, nor am I going to tell their business, because that's what you do when you've had a friend or a rapport with someone. Or at least that's what I do. Now, what you do is on you. But as far as me, you're not going to get that from me, because when I rock with you, I do. Regardless of what happened, I'm not going to put that out there. And then I'm not going to go publicly in chats and start talking about you. Why do that? Because I think that speaks more of me than it will ever speak of that person. So you guys never saw that when it came to the trio split, so to say. You'll never be able to say, no one will ever be able to say that because that's not how I move. Good morning, Miss Boyd. You know, and I think that regardless of fallout, it speaks more of you if you now have to speak on them in a negative light. Because then what does that say about you? Why was you damn with them if they so horrible? Duh. You know? That's like me all of a sudden, me and Pac not talking. Pac, I love you. We can talk about like this. Me and Pac falling out. Now all of a sudden, my next live is titled Lupac Ain't Shit. Well, she sure was when I was rocking and rolling with her. You know what I'm saying? That would speak more of my character. Where it's like, ooh, y'all see Chatty's fake ass? And y'all would have every right to say so. Because she was certainly shit when I was rocking with her and calling her sis, right? You know? So, to each his own. To each his own. To each his own. I just know that it's not a good look. It doesn't feel good. And from the outside looking in, if YouTube was a resume, I think a lot of people wouldn't get the job that they were applying for. You know what I mean? So if you're applying for the job of, reaching 20K, you're probably not going to get it based on your page. If you're applying for the job to have successful paid promotions based on your conduct in your lives, you're not going to get it. If you're applying to the job to have a 100K platform based on your live and your conduct, you're not going to get it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to at some point decide what job are you applying for when it comes to your YouTube page. You know, some people are going to be stuck at Walgreens while others going to go on to Macy's. You know what I mean? You either going to be at Forever 21 or you going to be at Chanel. You either going to be the perfume girl at Burlington Coat Factory or you going to be over there at Gucci. You know what I'm saying? So what it depends on what job you want. You either going to be pumping gas, you know? What job do you want? And is your YouTube resume going to get you that job based on your lives and conduct? Just saying. So that was my moment of reflection and my rant and bickering and all that there. Some people might get something from it, some people not. That's fine. But I felt like it was something. I didn't have my morning coffee. I probably would be on longer if I had it, but I'm about to get hangry. I know that's not right. I probably shouldn't depend on it, but I like my coffee. Don't judge me. Leave me alone. I'm about to put on something and look a hot mess. Might even have on Mitch Match socks, but I'm going to get my coffee. I can't take it, y'all. I'm about to get a headache. So I love you guys. This is what I had this morning. And if anything, if nothing else, if you don't take anything else from it, just remember that even a broken clock is right twice a day. I love you all. Be capable, be inspired, be encouraged because you are amazing. If nobody told you that today, let me be the first. Keep going. All right. I love you guys. Let me go get this coffee, child. Thanks for the super sticker. For those that did hit the like button already, thank you. And for those that will hit it when they catch the replay, I thank you in advance. Work on your resume. No shade. I'm talking about YouTube. Work on your resume. You know what I mean? Later.